Welcome to Larry King Now. Our special guest is Katherine Schwarzenegger. You know her as the daughter of Maria Shriver and Arnold Schwarzenegger, but Katherine is proving to be much more than just a famous name, just a graduate. She's a recent USC graduate, had a best-selling self-help book out called Rock What You've Got. This was a major bestseller. She also has a website, KatherineSchwarzenegger.com, and a rising television career, and another book coming.
Yes.
What's that going to be called?
I don't know what it's going to be called quite yet, but it's about advice for recent college graduates. And I've been interviewing a bunch of different people about their experience post-graduation and all of the anxiety that comes with that and figuring out your life for the
How
first
did
time.
you get into this self-help idea?
I think just by living it. I just kind of would, you know, deal with different things in my life. For that book, it was body image, and I just found it to be really fascinating. And being a young woman in America and dealing with it myself, I wanted to kind of explore it more, which led to a book. And the same thing kind of happened with the book that I'm doing now, which was me graduating college and not really knowing what I was going to do with my life and being very overwhelmed by people asking me, so what are you going to do now, over and over again. So I thought that it would be a great opportunity to go and interview kind of well-known and successful people about, you know, their experience dealing with the what next of their life.
So what are you going to do now?
I mean, I'm finishing my book right now, so that's been a lot of work.
You have a website.
And I have a website I just launched, which
What is that?
It's a lifestyle website. It's
How do
Katherine
I go to
Schwarzenegger. It's KatherineSchwarzenegger.com. And that kind of I did about a month and a half ago, and I really wanted to create a lifestyle website for people of my generation. So it would be a website that had everything on it, from cooking to things going on in the world that are relevant to millennials, to fashion, to style, and kind of have everything on there in kind of one location.
Do you see yourself then as a entrepreneur? I mean, you want to be an author, want to be a you're how old, 22?
23.
Let's take, you're 33.
Okay.
33. What are you doing?
I hope to be doing a lot of what I'm doing now, but also a lot of things that I have on kind of my vision board for my life. I hope to be having a TV career that I'm kind of dabbling in right now, but...
The last name is a famous name.
Yeah.
You have a famous mother and a famous father.
Yeah.
Did you give some thought to changing the name?
I mean, I don't think I would ever change my last name. I've found it to be very challenging. And
There are minuses, though, aren't there?
Definitely, there are minuses. I think that I kind of first experienced that when I went to college, because when you're in high school, you're so sheltered, and then you go to college and meet a bunch of new people. And
you were the governor's daughter in high school.
I was the governor's daughter at that time, yeah. Which is another kind of separate chapter, but also a huge responsibility that comes along with that last name. And obviously, whenever someone hears my last name, they immediately think of my father. So, but I'm very focused on making that my own name and not wanting to be the daughter of. I think that will always kind of be there lingering, but I'm very focused on making my own name.
How do they feel about what you're doing?
They're very supportive. My mom is, I live with my mom right now. I moved home after I graduated, and my mom is kind of my #1 fan, as she says. So she's always there to kind of support me and help me, and a lot of the things that I'm doing are similar to what she's doing. So it's amazing for me to be able to ask her for advice.
Couldn't go better than that.
True, yeah.
And your dad, what does he think of the public's limelight for you?
I think that he likes it. I mean, he thinks that it's great whenever any one of us kids is doing something that we're passionate about and that we're following our dream, which is what he did with his life. So I think that whenever we are excited about doing something and that we're doing it in the right way, that's all he cares about.
Last time I saw you, you were 11 years old.
I know.
In Hawaii. I was there with my 2 little boys and my wife, and you were there with your siblings, and you were in the hotel next door, but you came over. You were a rambunctious little kid. You built that water slide. You're the oldest, right?
I am the oldest, yeah, the oldest.
I don't want to deal with anything personal, but just as an override, having famous parents,
yes,
being in the news, all the things that surrounded you, how did you deal with that?
dealing with those things kind of as they come and taking it day by day. There's no kind of rule book for dealing with something like that.
Can't be.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that obviously I have an incredibly involved mother who kind of checks on all four of us constantly and makes sure that we are happy and healthy people.
She's hands-on.
Very hands-on. She's as hands-on as they come, which is an amazing thing. So I think that I've dealt with it pretty well, I would think. But
It'd be hard, though, at times.
Definitely. Of course, it's hard at times. I mean, you also are kind of born into it, so it's not like you chose to be in a certain position. But I mean, I kind of deal with things as they come up. And
did the paparazzi bother you a lot?
Yeah, I think their goal was more to kind of set off one of my siblings or I, just to kind of see us get upset and say, "Oh, there's a troubled child." But we all
doesn't that bother you?
Yeah, definitely bothers me. I mean, it's not the most exciting thing to kind of go out and be harassed by people, but I think that if you just kind of try and take a deep breath and keep your mouth shut, that you'll be fine.
How do you deal with the political aspect? Your father, a moderate Republican.
Yeah.
Your mother, a liberal
Yeah.
Democrat coming in the Kennedy
Yeah.
line. Where are you in that spectrum?
I think that I'm kind of right in the middle. I would say that I kind of, I used to be more of a Democrat, but I've kind of found myself now to be more of an independent.
Really?
Yeah. So as I become older and more aware of different issues, I think that I kind of I fall more in the middle.
Do you want to be married and have children? Do you want to go that
Yeah.
route too? You want everything, right? Don't you?
Yes. Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
Ambition runs through you. Well,
Yeah.
you're an ambitious family.
Yeah.
Your mother's
definitely.
coming back to TV, right?
Yeah. Of course.
Catherine teaches me how to rock what I've got. Next, the book, Rock What You've Got, a major bestseller, and the new one, Untitled, coming next April. And the website is just KatherineSchwarzenegger.com, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll be right back. You can go to that website anytime, KatherineSchwarzenegger.com. It's new and very well done. All right, what do we mean by rock what you've got?
I came up with that title very last minute, which is, I guess, what I'm going to do with this book that I'm doing right now. It kind of was a catchphrase that I thought would kind of embody all the content in the book. So I really encourage young women of all different shapes and sizes to realize their own unique beauty and their inner beauty, and to not focus on what the media says and how the media portrays women, which I think is confusing.
Aimed at women?
Yes. And, well, I mean, I originally aimed it at young women, but as I've been able to go to more events and give more speeches about the topic, I found that it's obviously a topic that affects both men and women, but I'm more relating to young women.
What is a millennial?
I view millennials as being some of the most enthusiastic and excited and eager young people that the world has ever seen, contrary to what people say about millennials.
But the U.S. Chamber of Commerce put out a study stating that 36% of millennials depend on financial support from their families. Mm-hmm. Pretty high figure.
You have way more kids graduating college and moving back home than we ever have before.
Job market.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a great way to be able to save money if your parents are willing to have you come back home. And I think, it's not a traditional path that people are taking anymore. There are jobs that are such new jobs in the economy today that we're creating. We're much more entrepreneurial at a young age. And I think that the bottom line is that millennials today are coming out of college and dealing with not such a great economy, but we're very excited and we're very ambitious and eager to kind of begin our careers right away and excited about our futures. Is there a misconception about them? Yes, I think so. Which is? That we're lazy and that we don't want to start from the bottom, or that we want things too quickly, which I think we do want things faster than my parents' generation did, but I think that that's because we want to be successful and we're eager to achieve. Is one of the problems you face that people might say, well, wait a minute, how can I relate to this person who was born into wealth and fame with two famous parents, with the problems they may have encountered, but also all the pluses of that? How can she associate with me? Yeah, and I totally understand that, and I had that question a lot when I talked about my first book. But I think that the reality is that it doesn't matter what family you're born into what last name you have or how much money you have. The reality is that, you know, I'm a normal young woman. I deal with the exact same issues that any other normal young woman would deal with. And I struggle just like everyone else would. And I think in my book, I talked a lot about struggling and dealing with, you know, the pressures of being a young woman. And in my next book, I talk a lot about struggling again and trying to kind of find myself and figure out my purpose and kind of going through all of the normal thoughts and mindsets that people go through when they come out of college.
Can I still learn to rock what I've got?
Of course you can.
Give me, I mean, I think I've pretty much rocked out.
You have. You're pretty set. But you can always, no matter what your age, you can always learn to rock what you've got. And I think it's important to know that it's something that you have to deal with every day. I mean,
I never lose my curiosity.
You never do, and that's very important.
We have some social media questions for you. Holly Motorelli Early on Facebook wants to know, what was the first issue that made you want to stand up and fight?
I think that I always grew up watching my grandmother stand up for what she believed in. And
your mother's mother?
Yes.
What a lady.
Yeah,
I loved her.
And she was very strong and very feisty, and I always really admired her. So I think the first issue that I kind of really was passionate about standing up for was body image. So that's why I wanted to write the first
She
book.
was the female version of Bobby.
Yeah, she was.
Tricia Brown on Instagram wants to know, do you have any plans for politics?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Because?
Because I grew up around politics, and I think when you grow up around it, you either love it or hate it.
You hate it?
I mean, I think it's interesting, obviously. I would not like it for myself. I would not choose that for
not you.
My life at all, no.
We now play a little game of If You Only Knew. This is just a fun game, Katherine. First kiss.
A boy named Andrew, my first boyfriend.
How old was he? Ninth grade.
Ninth grade.
That's a little late.
It is a little late.
Whatever happened, Andrew?
We're still really good friends. But
Really?
I only dated him for like 2 months.
Biggest pet peeve?
Loud chewers. Definitely.
Favorite person to follow on Twitter?
There's this comedian on Twitter that my sister started following, got me to follow, named Jenny Johnson. She's very
funny?
Very funny, very kind of disgusting.
Brash.
But, yeah, but I get a lot of humor from it.
Most embarrassing moment?
It's really hard for me to get embarrassed because I come from such an embarrassing large family, I have found. So I think that I'm so used to being embarrassed all the time that it's really hard for me to find like
you
a
live
shock.
Embarrassed.
Yeah.
Favorite book?
The Great Gatsby.
Person you'd most want to work with?
I think that if I had the choice, I would want to work with my family. Like my siblings, I think would be really fun to work with.
Favorite food?
Cereal.
Cereal? Which
Yeah.
one?
I kind of mix them all together. Yeah, we have tons of cereals.
Honey Nut Cheerios?
I love Honey Nut Cheerios. Honey Bunches of Oats, love them.
Sometimes with a little Raisin Bran sometimes.
Yeah, that's always good, yeah.
Yeah, they go
Makes
together.
you feel healthy also.
Yeah, it does. Thanks, doll.
Thank you so much.
Great seeing you
Thank
again,
you.
grown up. Katherine Schwarzenegger, KatherineSchwarzenegger.com. Rock what you've got, a new book coming in April. And remember, you can find me on Twitter at King's Things, and I'll see you next time.